to my channel. For those that are just joining, I am a 3rd through 5th grade special education teacher. This will be my first year teaching, and today I just want to have a little story time. If you've already seen the title, guys, yes, I failed my Praxis for special education twice. Not once, but twice. And so I'm just going to give you guys a little background on that today. So let's kick it off. So, the first time that I took my Praxis was July 30th of 2019. During that time, I was working 2 jobs, which one I did not get off of work until 7 a.m., so it was a little bit of a challenge. Took the opportunity to try to study while I was at work at night, on my lunch break, and just in my free time, and it just didn't go well. So, the time that I had to be at my test was at 10 a.m. So, did I have a lot of sleep? Absolutely not. So, the first test did not go so well. So, for this test, you actually have to have a score of 220, and my score was 183. So, after that time, I will say it was a little discouraging, and I questioned if I really wanted to teach, being that these tests are not cheap. They are, for this one, it was $105, and I do not mean $1.05, okay? So, I took some time to reflect and decide what I really wanted to do. My original plan was that I was going to go and get my alternative license. So I would just take my Praxis test and then apply for a position. Which, when you apply for an alternative license, you have up to a year to pass your Praxis, which just in my case did not go well. For some people, it's a different story. They take their test and they're fine. Me, it didn't go so well. So, I did wait a little while to take my test again. So, I decided after not taking my alternative license that I was just going to go back to school. So, I ended up going back to school for my master's in special education. And then around January 7th of 2021, I decided to take my test again, because I knew either way I had to pass the test, so I went ahead and tried again. Now, during that time, I still had some things going on in my life, and it just didn't go as planned. However, this time my score came up a little bit. Okay, not very much, but I got a 191, which again, you have to have a 220 to pass the test. So, took some more time and just kind of focused on school for a little while and took an opportunity to study a little bit more. So, I went ahead and took the time to study some more, and then again, in July, on the 14th of July, 2021, I took my exam again, and thank God, I passed it. By the bare minimum, but I passed it. So, I was grateful for that. So, this was, in total, about 2 years after I had failed it the first time. Which, I know a lot of you may be thinking, well, what made you keep going? Because it was a long time. But I really wanted to pursue this career. So in pursuing this career, it takes you investing into yourself. If you really desire it, you'll keep working towards it, no matter how many times you failed. For me, it was twice. For some people, it's more than that. For some, they get it right away, and that's okay. As long as you stay consistent, you will get it. So, I just want to go ahead and show you guys some of the materials I use for my test. So I am living in Ohio, so I was required to take the OAE. This is actually my Foundations of Reading study guide. You will have to take Foundations of Reading also. And then also Professional Knowledge is another exam that will have to be taken. So I do have my special education book. It's a little torn up from using it, but these are some of the books you will have to use. So this was the original resource that I used to study for my test. It's mainly just background information about special education. There's certain dates in this text and a couple of other things. I really feel like my special education test helped me with my Foundations of Reading because of what's in the textbook. But I'm going to tell you now that the practice test is not the same as the actual test. So, you really have to focus in on what the child is dealing with. What are they trying to achieve? So, if they are trying to sequence a storyline, they would need a graphic organizer. What happened first? What happened second? What happened last? Those are the type of things that will be on the test. What support will you give to the student in order to help them to overcome whatever it is that they are trying to learn? So, I use that first, the textbook. The second source that I used was study.com. On there, they also give you a lot of background information. I would say that helped me as well to an extent. What I tried to do is just pull as much information as I could from study.com, watched videos, and just kind of getting an idea of the overall child. However, it does not give you those scenarios of if this child is dealing with this learning issue, how will you support them in that? So you have to consider that as well. If I am perfectly honest, I feel like the best thing to use is the guide that is online. So what I use is, I'm going to pull it up really quick, the Ohio Assessments for Educators. That is www.oh.nesinc.com. So this is a website that I went to schedule for my test. It also gives you practice exams and just a little sample of what you will see on your test. So I would check there first. If you are trying to study, this would probably be your best source. Now, I did try also reaching out to current educators to ask them what they use as sources in order to study. I didn't get very many replies, but I did have one teacher that gave me some of her notes that she studied for her exam, and that was for Foundations of Reading. Foundations of Reading has 2 written responses that you have to do. So, I focused a lot on that. Again, when you take your special education test, that studying will kind of prepare you for your Foundations of Reading. Professional knowledge, I use study.com to study for that. I did not purchase a book, but I did purchase a book for the other 2. So just keep that in mind. If you guys have absolutely any questions when it comes to the Praxis, I will do my very best to help guide you along and just kind of tell you what I have learned from studying and trying to take my test. And also, if you guys are current educators and you've taken this test, if there's any tips that you can give new teachers, first year teachers that are trying to pass their Praxis, I would appreciate it, because we are all a team trying to achieve the same goals. So a little help goes a long way. I know it did for me. So that is pretty much my story on trying to pass my Praxis. Thank goodness I finally passed it. I needed to pass my Praxis prior to student teaching. So that may be for you as well. So I would take as much time as I could to study, to get the information in, and invest in yourself. That's really what it is. It's an investment for you to begin your career. But I really thank you guys for taking this time to listen to my story. I hope I gave you some information that would be helpful. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I have a lot more to come, and I just hope you guys have a wonderful day. All right, bye-bye.